Okay, I have another tell all. So I started having neuropathy in my hands. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it's like unexplained sensitivity. And I um, I didn't know what was happening. And at first it was just like I scraped my hand on something and it felt like I had sliced my finger open. It was so painful. And I didn't really think much of it. I thought that was kind of weird, maybe a little strange sensitivity. So, sorry, my eyes are watering like crazy. Lately, I've been having lots of allergy stuff. Anyway, so, then a few days later, I put my hands in my pockets of my pants, and when I pulled them out, just where the pants had scraped my hands, it felt like I had scratched them on concrete, and I was like, this is a little strange. So then I did some research and read that a B12 deficiency can cause neuropathy in your hands and your feet. Well, I wasn't really noticing it in my feet yet, but my hands were definitely. So I decided to take some B12, and I don't know why I always do these at night when I'm sleepy, but I do. So how my brain works. So, and the kids are in bed. That's probably why I do it. Anyway, so I took the B12 pills, the ones that you just hold under your tongue, and it seemed to make the pain a little bit less, but not significant. It was still there. And then it seemed to be getting worse, so I did some more research, and I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia a long time ago, and I haven't had a lot of symptoms of it, but one of the issues with people with fibromyalgia, they usually have a propensity towards a B12 deficiency. So I was like, that's interesting. And then I started doing the drops under my tongue, and it started really working. And I did some further research and found out that we get most of our B12 from dairy and from eggs. And so I started putting two and two together, figured out, so it was about a month and a half ago now. And so it was at about that time that I started back on my full weight loss program. And part of that program for weight loss is you cut out dairy, and then they recommend reducing your eggs unless you're doing, whites or egg beaters, which is also egg whites, because egg yolk can raise your triglycerides. So to avoid that, you just, cut back on your eggs. So anyway, my dad had been eating eggs regularly, and he had his blood work done, and his triglycerides were high. So I was like, well, maybe I should cut back. So I cut back on my eggs. I stopped the dairy again because I was going back into to weight loss, and at the same time, I had been taking for months and months and months a B complex, and I ran out. The bottle ran out, and I just hadn't gotten around to ordering, because I usually order all my vitamins online because they're cheaper. Excuse me. And I just hadn't ordered them, so I figured I'd get around to it when I got back from vacation. Well, in the meantime, my hands were getting more and more painful, and anyway, so I started doing that research. Well, then I discovered, so pretty much what happened was a month and a half ago, I stopped taking my B complex. I stopped having dairy. I reduced my eggs, and all of those things combined contributed to this huge B12 deficiency. Well, interestingly enough, once I started getting enough B12, and I was doing the sublingual, the liquid under my tongue, much more effective than the pills. The pills I felt like kind of helped, but anyway. So I have noticed now that I don't need as much of the B12 every day, as long as I do it every day. And then I also have started transitioning off of the weight loss because I'm at my goal for now. And so I'm actually added dairy back into my diet, and still having eggs. Just trying to have more egg whites than yolks. And anyway, miracle of all miracles, the neuropathy in my hands is gone. What's interesting though is if I miss it for a day or so, I don't notice right away, but like tonight, I didn't have any at all yesterday. I totally forgot, and then I went up to do a sleep study for Etsy up in Denver, and I remembered last night, but I didn't have any B12. Sorry. Oh my goodness, I need to go to bed now. But, because sleep is a good habit of health. Anyway, tonight we were outside and my ears hurt so bad. They were cold and it felt like I was getting frostbite. And I know that I wasn't out there long enough for that. And I also know that it wasn't cold enough for that. But that's how painful it is. So I don't know if one of you or any of you know somebody who's suffering with that and they can't figure out what's wrong. Try B12, because it was this little thing that made a huge difference. And I even had the strangest sensation whenever I would wash my hands. I could like feel where the water was like running across my fingers. Like I could feel every stream of water on my hands, warm or cold, and it was a very odd sensation. Anyway, and then it started happening with my feet, and then I started getting really concerned. So I was really glad that it was just a B12 deficiency and that there was an explanation for it too. So anyway, that's my tell-all. I tell you all I know. Not because I'm an expert, but because I have experience. So I'll tell you all some more tomorrow.